Dancehall is better than soca music.
Why also you do this? Why should we do this? You doing it?
I
Okay.
enjoy jerk chicken.
I do enjoy jerk chicken.
I enjoy jerk chicken because it's so crispy and it, it has a delicious side to tasting jerk chicken.
True, true, true. What do you normally eat it with? What side dish? I normally like festival and or bread. Not too
Or
much.
sometimes it depends because you can eat it with breadfruit. I'm not sure if you know about breadfruit.
Of course, of course, of course. So, come on now. But the thing is, normally jerk chicken would have been like on a Friday. So sometimes, you
Yeah.
don't really want to go
So you
to
eat it with
fast
a
food.
bread. You eat it with bread or something like normally Mr. Persons that they eat jerk chicken with bread. Like you buy it here
Mm-hmm.
and you go buy like a quarter bread and you just put it together and eat it like a sandwich or something.
Exactly. Yeah, you eat jerk chicken. Well, over here in Jamaica, we normally eat jerk chicken on a Friday, where we can't bother go to KFC because KFC lines normally long. And yeah, you buy some bread, you buy some jerk chicken, and you're good. Or you buy some festival.
Sean Paul is the ideal ambassador for Jamaican culture.
I would say he is in certain cases because I was recently watching him on the Soul Session with Simone. Like she's one of the hosts on Smile Jamaica, and she was interviewing him about his struggles, his journey, and his whole life from being just this person to going on to be an international icon. And he said it comes from privilege, but his family is normally treating bad because his father is considered to be a black sheep, where his father went to like jail, so he has to figure out how to move from that capacity, and he moved up and he first started spinning some music, and then he used that to build a platform for Jamaica. But the reason
Mm.
why he's so international because he did that in America. If you were to do that in Jamaica, like start up like any other artist, but I don't think he will get the same recognition because he will have chances to do a collaborate like people like Keisha Cole and no him and Shaggy
Mm-hmm.
sing a song with Spice go down there. So him give Spice a chance to launch herself now more into the international space, which she was already doing, but now she has a chance to further move on up here because now I saw her went on a show, Jimmy Kimmel. Normally, American celebrities or artists that go on that show are actors. So she getting the chance to go on that platform, sharing her views, talking about her music, moving up in society.
I see where you're coming from, but it's not like other artists here haven't necessarily made their name while in Jamaica,
Yes.
right? So you have to look. So you, aside from Bob Marley, we still have the Peter Toshes, we still have the Jimmy Cliffs, and
Mhm.
they had their rise to stardom and they have the international names. I think why Sean Paul seems ideal
Can
is
stand
nothing.
in
It's not that I have
America.
anything against Sean Paul. It's just that there are a lot of contenders. For example, you just said Spice. I know, even though I know this is not your intention, it kind of sounds like you're saying Sean Paul kind of carried Spice into the international scene. Well, that's not actually true.
That's not
When
true, but to some
hold on, because
people,
even before it got down there,
hmm
Spice was recognized by Harvard for her work,
yeah,
right?
and love hip hop.
And she also has love and hip hop. And
Mhm.
also now she's building her following in Atlanta. So we can't really say, oh, because no, exactly. So there are a lot of contenders. So I don't necessarily see a big distinction. And you mentioned Shaggy. Shaggy definitely one of the big contenders. I think what he did the voice for Sebastian in the Disney's I think I don't remember.
Ariel, look,
No, yes, that Disney show, but on ice, the
Ariel,
live
Ariel.
version. And he was phenomenal, right? So if we're looking at phenomenal people, we can't just say Sean Paul because he's phenomenal, because there are also other phenomenal people. And
Mhm.
as much as you have the Sean Pauls and the Spice that have been there long standing, you have people like Popcorn that cannot be underestimated nor shortchanged.
Dancehall is better than soca music.
Why also you do this?
I would say that is
Why would you
very
do this? Oh my
that
gosh.
that's a challenging one. What I would say is that both of them have their own space, like all them carry on, they have their own space.
Well done,
Soca
Jamel.
is more familiar with with carnivals or with chinda music or with other music, while dancehall has its own flavor. It mixed with reggae, mixed with calypso, it mixed with one bag of other music coming together to create its own mix, its own flavor, its own entertainment. So each one of them is your own contender. Because just the other day I saw a dancehall song that was put into a beat of a soca on Instagram where there was like a carnival theme and person were partying and carrying along. So each one of them can add their own flavor. I don't think them competitive in itself because they have their own stage, their own different artists, their own different like flavor. It's like you saying that is reggae better than dancehall? It's like that. It's like you say, is reggae better than dancehall? Reggae is not necessarily better in certain capacity. I'm not bashing reggae. Reggae is good. Reggae have its own flavor, its own stage.
Right.
It's very good. It have its own distinctive feel. You can't just say, oh, me just versus these because dancehall was created after reggae, like a segment of a reggae. So you're just it's like you watching the show like a spinner versus the original format
Right.
of the
It's
show.
fine. Dancehall and soca, they can, like you rightly said, they can even blend and create like new music and new subgenres.
I have experienced racism in Jamaica.
I don't think I know if I did, to be honest with you. I don't think so.
To me, racism is very definitive. What do I mean by that? Racism cannot be viewed as this one extent, like this race against race, like how we see in America, where white versus black, or the term African American. In Jamaica, it's kind of different. It's known as colorism, like how we see ourselves as people. And I do see racism, but not in the form as race, but in the form of people self-inflicting themselves into bleaching themselves, like turning a different skin color or adapting to a more Eurocentric way of living. And moreover, you can see persons being treated as to where they live in Jamaica. That is a certain factor. Like them base you on do you come from the inner city? Like oh you talk, like oh you speak. In this country you have to speak better, you have to speak good. You can't come with patois, although patois is our way of speaking. We can't really come with that. We have come with that standard English. And if we come with like patois, we speak like more than one time. You expect to be judged by many people around you. That
All Jamaicans have equal rights to education.
Yeah, start with Jamel.
I was going to go first on that. That is a very touchy subject to where I'm from because although we say all persons have equal rights to education, that is not true. The system, yes, the system allocates money and resources, but over the time, that is not fully utilized. You have some persons who probably slip through the system. And I always ask this question to myself. What are those? Everybody always say every child can learn, every child must learn. So I was like, that is not true. So what happens to the persons who literally cannot learn, who literally cannot read and write? Where do they go within that educational system? Is there a skill labor, something that can be utilized to exert their skills or to get them money or meaningful jobs?
Could you put that statement up again on the screen? Just like all Jamaicans, yeah, just so I'm not. So all Jamaicans have equal rights to education. All Jamaicans, can't stop repeating this. All Jamaicans, not just the young, also the old, have equal rights to education. Um, I think based on what Jamel was talking about, he was more so speaking up towards the reality of our situation as opposed to what this notion actually means in terms of the freedom to pursue education and whatever level you choose to go about it. Um, so it's like saying there is no litigation, there is no law that prohibits you from necessarily pursuing and attaining um, your levels of education and or your increase in skill sets. At least that's how I'm interpreting it, as all Jamaicans have right to education. So we talk about the lack of provisions to get there. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is you no longer have the right to education, but rather a lack of access to education. It kind of implies that your right is being infringed upon. However, the society that we live in is not necessarily so, I wouldn't say helpful, but we don't have the right resources. This is a really touchy subject for me, considering I am of the mindset where Jamel actually pointed out your education is heavily your responsibility. I know that kind of sounds counterintuitive, considering we just spoke about the lack of infrastructure in order for us to attain them. However, you noted where you know of somebody that realizes lack, realizes deficiency, and took necessary steps to get there. You yourself um, is a candidate of what it takes to actually attain that. So it's not like your rights are being infringed upon. It's not as though you cannot do it, but more so you are, I guess, disheveled or rather irate about the lack of access to get there. And I completely understand that and I empathize with that because not everybody has the access to necessarily embrace their rights.
I am proud to be Jamaican.
I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to be proud of this space. Like it took me a very, very, very long time to be proud of this space because I always see myself very different in how I perceive myself. So as it regards to my voice, it's not normal voice. So normally we ask people are comment on it or criticize it in our way. And that the whole way like how I think or how I act as a person, you would expect that from where I'm from. So after a while, I always felt different. So at first, I was like, I wanted to go to the US, I wanted to go to here, I want to go to anywhere different. But at the same time, when I was growing up and growing up and growing up, I realized that the problem is not me wanting to go somewhere. Is problem is not feeling appreciated or feeling accepted as a Jamaican. Because majority of Jamaicans from here don't feel accepted within the culture, don't feel good as a person because this culture is not for the weak of minds. Trust me, you have to have a strong brain.
And I am proud to be a Jamaican. For nothing more, I'm proud of how we think as a people, not necessarily the off side of it makes that makes us do questionable things, but I'm proud of us in terms of like how we do things and how we even battle our stressors. I am really proud of how innovative we can be. I'm really proud of our ability to do a lot with little.
I love this culture. I love it. I love how them always say, we local, but we talawa.